Welcome to Small Arms Solutions. Today we're doing a follow-up video on the Armament XCR, or Exchangeable Caliber Rifle Light. This is the rifle chambered in multiple calibers. Now, roughly 2 years ago we did a video on this. I'm going to put the links up there for that video, which is going to give you more of an in-depth into its history, its function, and so forth. I'll briefly go over its function, but what I want to focus on here today is interchangeability of barrels and accuracy testing that we had done. Now, initially, we had only done really function testing with the 5.56 300 blackout and 7.62x39 in the initial video. Well, in the intervening years here, I've been able to get additional barrels of 6.5 Creedmoor and 6.8 SPC. So this time what we want to do is focus on the accuracy testing. So my buddy Brandon from the gun room over in Shenandoah, Texas here joined me at the range, who happens to be an incredible shot, and he did some targets with some of the various calibers. So I'm going to go over briefly with this rifle. We have a couple different generations here to look at. Now, first off, this rifle is not a AR-15, although it may have some of its appearance. It's not. This is sort of a combination of the FAL, the AK-47, and the M16. And basically, it takes some of the better features of all of them and puts them into one. For instance, we have a good M16 type barrel. We have a FAL gas system. We have a one-piece upper receiver. We have a bolt that's similar to that to a AK-47. We have a long stroke piston, which is also that of an AK-47. We have a fire control group, which is sort of a hybrid between an M16 and an AK-47. We also have an AR-15 or M16 type pistol grip. Magazines, Stenag magazines, which is what's interesting about this rifle, is you have Stenag magazines, which will be the standard AR-15 type magazines that will be chambered in 5.56, of course 300 blackout, 7.62x39, 6.8 SPC, 6.5 Grendel. Now, the stock we have on here is a stock that's designed for this rifle by Robinson Armament, which is adjustable for length of pull, and we also have its side folding as well. Now, those of you who do not like the side folding stocks, you prefer the AR-15 type stock, we do have an adapter that's made by Robinson Armament that allows you to put a standard AR-15 M16 type stock assembly on it. Now, what we have on here is we have Magpul M-Bus Pro sights, backup sights on here, which are some of the ones that I prefer very much over anything else out in the market. They're good metal sights. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the gas valve here. Now, there are certainly benefits of having a fully adjustable gas valve, which means depending on your type of ammunition that you have and also your environment, you can fine-tune the rifle so it's gassed just enough for what you're doing. When you overgas a rifle, generally you get reliability, but you also beat the rifle up. You'll also you'll wear your trigger mechanism, your bolt, and other components. And especially in the commercial market where you have ammunition that has the range from NATO spec down to Wolf, where it barely operates a standard rifle. So it does give you the ability to be able to fully adjust for every type of ammunition pretty much you're going to be able to get your hands on, but you have to know how to use it. You have to know how to adjust it. Now, the adjustment procedure is generally very simple. You want to close the gas valve down, and then you want to fire and keep adjusting until the bolt locks back on the empty magazine, and then probably one or two clicks on top of that, and that will work with the particular ammunition that you're using. Now, if you wanted to have a rifle that would work with most types of ammunition, you could certainly open it up significantly more. It probably would work with most types of ammunition. However, with higher pressure ammunition, it would be more of a detriment to the rifles for as far as its service life. So you really need to make sure that you understand how the gas valve works in order to get the benefits out of it. So that's one of the things that we definitely want to talk about. Now, for as far as calibers are concerned, as you can see, we have several different barrel assemblies here. For instance, this one here happens to be the 300 blackout, where we do have a shorter gas system, so we have a shorter piston that we're going to attach, and we're going to go over how that disassembles. Now, the magazines that we used in our testing were all C Products Defense. During the testing I've done over the recent years, especially with these oddball calibers other than 5.56, it's been my experience that the C Products Defense or the Duramags happen to be probably the best in the industry, especially when it comes to the 7.62x39 and the 6.8 SPC. The reliability happens to be there, so we have used those throughout the testing. So we're going to go over the rifles a little bit and give you sort of an idea of what it is now. Again, I'm going to defer to the original video that we have, which goes far more in details, where it shows you a lot more of the changing out barrels. We will show you how to do that on here briefly, but again, I'm going to defer you to that other video. So we have two different receivers here. Particular one here, this is the latest and greatest. This is the M-Lock upper receiver, and this one down here is key mod. When the XCR first came out, it did have a mil standard 1913 rail. And just a little bit of a brief history on this rifle. This rifle was developed for the SCAR program around the 2004-2005 time period. And at that point, they were looking for a modular rifle that had a lot of ways that you could change out barrels, change out barrel lengths, and so forth. And that's where this rifle was originally designed. And unfortunately, and it was the stupidest reason, when the rifle was submitted, it did not have its blank firing adapter. And unfortunately, SOCOM was extremely controlling, and they said, well, you didn't meet the requirements, so we're disqualifying your rifle. So this rifle never got to have a chance to even compete for the SCAR program just because it was missing a blank firing adapter. Which, could this rifle have made the grade? It very well may have. Maybe with a little bit more development, it probably would have. This is an incredible weapon system. It's very well made. I go over the thing from top to front, and I only have had one real criticism to the designer, was I would have liked to see this stuff drill and pin. Now, Alex Robinson, he is not a fan of drilling and pinning. He's made that very, very clear. But for me, from my experience, I think that it would be, and there's no question if he would have had this rifle go forward into a military contract, that would have been a requirement because it always has been. We've never had a military rifle that it wasn't. But that's really the only issue that I've had with it. Has it been a problem with any of the barrels that I've seen here? No, it hasn't. It's been much more so with other rifles that I've seen. But to me, it's a very big deal for as far as having that done. So going over the rifle, again, we have the telescopic side-folding stock. We have a 7075 T6 aircraft grade one-piece monolithic upper receiver. Now, it does open up very similar to that of an AR-15 M16, which we'll go over in a few moments. Now, you'll notice we have a relatively small injection port. When you look at it, you wonder, is the cartridge really going to come out of there? And yes, it does. It may look small, but you have plenty of room for that cartridge case to extract and eject. Now, all the upper receivers have a top mil standard 1913 rail that's continuous, which ensures you're able to put optics, thermal imaging, night vision, lasers, and whatnot. Now, again, we have the same old issue with the rails on the sides. 1913 rail, always there, never lose them. Key mod, I've never cared for key mod because it's very difficult to get those in and out. When you look at the M-Lock, this has been what NATO had chose. This has now become the industry standard. This enables you to put your rail panels on where you need them and not have them where you don't need them. Now, there has been some concern about these coming loose, which I have had them come loose, but if you're going to have them on more permanently, you certainly can Loctite them on, and that won't happen. Now, as you can see, we have the Manta rail protectors on here, and this is definitely necessary because it doesn't take long for this upper receiver to heat up. We do have in our description box a 20% off of all Manta products, so you can get 20% off of your entire order from them if you so chose by using our code. Barrels. Now, this is the Model Light. As a Model Light, that means based off of the 5.56 millimeter platform. Then you also have what's called the Mars M, which is going to be based off of the 308 and 6.5 Creedmoor. That's going to be a separate video. But when you have the XCR-L, you're referring to a barrel 5.56 NATO, 223 Wild, 6.8 SPC, 7.62 by 39, 224 Valkyrie, 6.5 Grendel, 7.62 by 39. And I know Alex has been working on 5.45 and some other calibers as well. I expect you're probably going to see him at some point coming out with the 6mm ARC and some of the other ones. By anything that will fit into a standard 5.56mm magazine, you can make a barrel for. Now, for as far as bolts are concerned, obviously with a standard 5.56 bolt, you can fire 224 Valkyrie, 5.56, 300 Blackout. The 6.8 SPC has its own bolt. 7.62 by 39 does 6.5 Grendel, as well as 7.62 by 39, which is its parent case. So you are provided with separate bolts where needed as well. So we're going to take this thing apart, and I'm going to show you what makes it tick. So if we look at the left-hand side, you'll see that we have a non-reciprocating charging handle. Now, by pushing inward, you do have a forward assist on here as well. So that'll help you push forward if need be. As you can see, we have a standard AR-15 type safety, and we have an ambidextrous magazine release. Now, your bolt catch is on the bottom. Now, to lock the bolt open through, you have a FAL-style bolt catch. Pull back, push up. Now, on your last round, the bolt will hold open on the last shot, and then you're able to just push forward to release it. So the rifle is fully ambidextrous. You also, behind the injection port cover, you do have a cartridge case deflector that prevents left-handed shooters from getting hit in the face with hot brass. The magazine, well, standard AR-15 type. You do have some flare to it as well. The trigger on here is something that's definitely worth mentioning. We're going to take this thing apart and we'll show you. Disassembly, you push forward, and then it shotguns open like that of an AR-15. Then you have a front pivot pin, which we push inward and pull out. Now we can separate the upper and lower receivers. Now we can see the bolt catch lifting up here. Now looking at the trigger, you'll see we have sort of a hybrid AK type trigger with a single hook. Now I have to say, this for a standard military rifle or assault rifle trigger is probably one of the nicest stock ones I've ever seen in my life. They did an absolute beautiful job on this trigger. It certainly aids with its accuracy. Now, please keep in mind, this is designed as an assault rifle, modern sporting rifle, but originally is an assault rifle for SOCOM. It's not designed to be a half MOA rifle. It's designed to shoot out of a battle rifle, and it does that, and it does it excessively well. So now we're taking a look at the bolt carrier group. Now as we pull back, everything comes right out. So we have our recoil spring. Now the bolt carrier drops right off of the op rod. Now as you can see, we have, this is the standard operating rod for all calibers other than 300 blackout. The 300 blackout, due to the fact that it uses a shorter gas system, utilizes its own operating rod. Now the bolt, as you can see, has a lot of similarities to that of an AK. You have basically the three lugs, extractor, ejector. The firing pin is fixed into place. Now the firing pin is just popped out. To remove the firing pin retaining pin, drive that out. And you drop your firing pin right out. And of course we do have a separate firing pin for the 7.62 by 39. Obviously due to the 7.62 by 39, you need to have a longer firing pin with a little bit more of a larger tip on the end to set up those harder primers. So for reassembly, drop right back in like so. Drop in like so. Nice, lock right back in place. Reassembly of the bolt. Now you place your operating rod on there. That closes up the front of the carrier. And you're good to go. Now for as far as the barrel reassembly, disassembly, we're going to use our different barrel for this. The barrel is held in by a single locking bolt, which we use an Allen key. Now once we loosen that up, a little bit more. Now we can pull that barrel right out. Then the barrel assembly, as you can see, you make up of a barrel extension and your gas block with your gas valve. Now, of course, this has a regular A2 style compensator on here, which you can place any kind of a muzzle device that you want on there. So for reassembly, drop that right back in as so. Now there is a torque specification, but with using a T-handle like so, if you're able to just do hand tight, that's plenty. So for reassembly, drop in like so. You have to make sure your bolt's in the unlock position. And then you install your front pivot pin like you do with that of an AR-15. And for assembly, you push inward on your spring, drop down till it clicks, and there you have it. So the focus on this video is going to be accuracy testing. So what we did was we took 5 different barrels and we interchanged them all in the same receiver, and we shot them at 100 yards. Now the ammunition that was used for the most part was Remington, Black Hills, and Hornady. The first group that we shot was with the 5.56. We're going to go to the range and we're going to see how that shoots. The 5.56 millimeter we used the Remington 62 grain boat tail hollow point match, and Brandon was able to get a 1 MOA group at 100 yards. Now again, this is not a match rifle. This is a standard military grade assault rifle. So with that match ammunition, we were extremely pleased to see a 1 MOA group. The next one we looked at was a 300 blackout, and this time we used a Black Hills ammunition 125 grain OTM. And with that, Brandon was able to get a 1.1 MOA group. Again, that was exceptional for this type of a rifle. Now, the next one tested was the 7.62 by 39. Now, the ammunition we used in that was the Hornady 123 grain boat tail hollow point, which is probably the most accurate of the 7.62 by 39 rounds that I've come across. And that was 2.1 MOA. Now, that was not surprising. For some reason, it's very rare to get a 7.62 by 39 that shoots sub-MOA. That could be characteristics of the ammunition, or it could have been the characteristics of this individual rifle. Now, barrels, as you know, even barrels for the same rifle, some will shoot better than others. So, why we got a much larger group with the 7.62 by 39 could have been for many reasons. Now, the next one was the 6.8 SPC. Now, the 6.8 SPC is probably my favorite cartridge in this platform. It happens to be great for any kind of hunting that you would do, especially down here in South Texas. Any kind of feral hogs, any kind of deer. It's an excellent all-around caliber. And the round that we used was the Hornady 110 grain VMAX, and that was a 1.3 inch group. And again, for a hunting rifle or a military rifle, we were very pleased with those results. Now, the next one was the 6.5 Grendel. Now, the 6.5 Grendel is a cartridge I haven't really done a lot with. There really, for me, has been no need because the 6.8 does everything that the 6.5 Grendel does. But you have a lot of Grendel fans out there for longer range, more varmint type shooting, if you will. And that got us 1.2 MOA. It was really interesting that the 6.8 shot just a little bit better. But again, that could have been the barrel, or that just could have been Brandon's luck of the day. But the groups were these groups were consistent. This wasn't based off of one group. It was based off of several. So overall, using the same receiver, just swapping out barrels, using the exact same optic, those were the groups that we had gotten with it. Now, this is it's a very unknown system. It doesn't have as much publicity out there as I think that it should. And for as far as its ability to change out barrels, there are several systems out there that have removable barrels. But for as far as having the most options for as far as calibers is concerned, nobody beats Robinson. Even LMT, which you guys have known, has pretty much always been my favorite. You pretty much have 224 Valkyrie, you have 300 Blackout, and you have 5.56. That's pretty much it. If you look at the Remington or the Bushmaster ACR, you're looking at basically 5.56 and 6.8 and 450 Bushmaster. You have more options with the Robinson Armament than you do with any other barrel. It's quick change. So for your ability to target shoot, self-defense, hunting, competition, this rifle does have it all. The ability to mount any optic. The one that we chose was the Vortex Razor, which is the 6 to 24 by 50. And the mount we have on here is a Spur mount. Now, Spur literally makes the Swiss watches of scope mounts. This one even has a bubble in the back to tell you, make sure that you're level. You have fully adjustable turrets. This is just a beautiful, beautiful scope. It's a little on the large side, but again, you look at what you're getting. This is a high-powered rifle scope, gives you good magnification. So combining with a proper optic, this is an extremely effective weapon system. So I certainly would recommend you guys give it a look. You have the ability for all the calibers. You have the ability for a beautiful trigger. You can mount any accessory that you would want to it via 1913 rail, key mod rail, or M-LOK rail. Any pistol grip that you so chose. The trigger is proprietary. However, you won't want to change it. It's an absolute gorgeous trigger. You do have the ability to put some different stocks on here, as well as I said, you can put the AR stocks on here. There also is a mount where you can place the Bushmaster stock on here as well. Just don't tell Alex. Alex doesn't like that one. He likes this one you see right here. But overall, this is really an excellent platform, and it's something. Take a good look at it. It's not very well known, but it's a very well designed, well manufactured, excellent customer service, and you have endless possibilities with it. Well, we hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, please click like, please subscribe, and even better, share.